Okay, chat. We need a palate cleanser. Gattsu posted a China versus Japan video, so let's go.
China and Japan are the dominant Asian powers, and they have been beefing for centuries at this point. But for the past couple of centuries, China was at a disadvantage because Britain made them addicted to opium and basically destroyed them along with other European powers during the Chinese century of humiliation. Everything. And Japan, I'm worried about Japan's economy, you know, because all the wars in the Middle East have stopped. So their Toyota pickup sales must be down now. Somebody start another conflict in the Middle East. You three need to lock in. Japan needs to sell pickups. But really, Japan is amazing at technology. PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, Sony TVs, Canon and Nikon cameras, and basically everyone has these for photography. Toyota, Honda, Seiko and Casio watches. Also, Japan has been notorious for their amazing train system. But sadly, they got mugged. And not only does China alone have 2/3 of the world's high-speed rail network, but they also made faster trains than Japan recently. Japan does lead in robotics and precision manufacturing, but China leads in like everything else, man. Like AI, 6G, electric cars, solar panels, and they're literally the only reason why solar panels are cheap now. And also, if everything made in China suddenly disappeared, most of the shit in your house would disappear, and it would look like the True Detective house without the mattress. So while Japan put up a very good fight with amazing technologies, China does win this one. But who needs mass scale technology when you got the vibes, man? Japan is notorious for having the best vibes ever and just general aesthetic stuff. That's why there are weeaboos and not China boos. China would have a very good chance.
The China boos are coming though. The China boos are starting to happen actually. I'm the leading cutting edge of the China boo. Like we are coming. I'm helping grow the China boo.
Scoring points here, but Mao decided I'm destroying the culture and I'm killing pigeons. Fuck you. Japan just looks like the best place ever, man. I'm actually gonna apply for a visa to go there. It looks amazing. And I haven't even watched anime in a while. Okay, like Tokyo is the coolest city ever. We all know this, but there are so many other gems in Japan as well, such as Okinawa. And this is literally just a tropical island. And just so many absolutely gorgeous little towns that has everyone soy facing. China is also beautiful, but the real deciding factor is, would you rather travel to a Chinese village or a Japanese village? See, the Phoenix Ancient City in China is a cool place. It's basically like the Kung Fu Panda as a town, and it looks very nice, but come on, man, Japan, bro? Also, if we're counting Hong Kong, because they're not mainland China, Hong Kong is fucking amazing. It's beautiful, amazing public transport too, and someone told me that Tokyo is even better than Hong Kong. I don't know if this is possible. Japanese embassy in Tbilisi, get in contact with me and give me a visa so I can see if it's truly better than Hong Kong. The only way Japan kind of fucks up its vibes is just some perv shit, right?
You own cats, right?
Yes.
And there's cats here too.
But they're not cats, they're teenage girls.
Wow.
So it's a bit of Diddy mode, but I guarantee Diddy wouldn't have gotten all this controversy if he had sakura trees in his backyard instead of beds on the basketball court. But Japanese culture is absolutely amazing, especially after they stopped being fascist.
Caught, dude. Hey, Yogopnik Raid, what's up? We are watching, friend of the show. We're talking about China versus Japan. China versus Japan. Did you guys watch what Trump just did to Ukraine? To Zelensky? Bro, I actually felt bad for Zelensky, dude. If I was an Eastern European, I would be shitting myself right now. Like, he actually humiliated him. That was like uncalled for. Like, actually uncalled for. I am, you know, somebody who was always skeptical of the whole war and Biden's policy, but to see Trump come in there and just be like, say thank you. Like, damn, dude. And I explained to my chat, and maybe you talked about this, Hugo, but the reality is that Zelensky isn't just a guy, right? He is the head of state. He represents the entire Ukrainian nation to the world, right? And the way they were just treated like they're subhuman And this is supposed to be the ally of the United States. I've never seen a head of state treated like that. Especially one who's supposedly our ally. Even if we disagree on some point, or, you know, it was like they were spitting in the faces of every single Ukrainian, man. Like, it was batshit crazy. I honestly, and the Ukraine, you know, like, Ukraine is not, it's not the biggest nation in the world, but it's a decent sized nation. It represents tens of millions of people. What is it, like 40 million at least, or more, especially when you include the Ukrainian diaspora. It's just, I don't know. It honest to God, like, I want to laugh at it, but at the same time, it's just like, hundreds of thousands of people have died in this war, and the United States is one of the major causes of that war. And to see us just humiliate you guys, humiliate, like, the betrayal, the humiliation, the disrespect. Again, it's fine for us to change our policies and be like, hey, listen, we want to pursue peace. We're not going to give you unlimited aid. If you don't want to come to the table, we're going to, then we might escalate cutting off supplies, or we may, but no, it was just like, you're a subhuman piece of shit. They had some flunky made fun of him. They had Marjorie Taylor Greene's. This is true if you guys don't know this. Marjorie Taylor Greene's ugly boyfriend made fun of him for not wearing a suit. And JD Vance laughed in his face. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I lost my voice this week. Yeah, chat. Because I've been yelling. I think the biggest thing coming from this is international elites being disgusted how a head of state was treated. Well, not only that, but like, it seems like Trump is legitimately going to cut off Ukrainian aid. And what I was explaining earlier is that Ukraine is not the same as Russia. Yes, Ukrainian soldiers are fighting quite ably on the battlefield, and they are inflicting tremendous damage to the Ukrainians. But they're only able to do that because European and American defensive works are being sent there. That, our military industrial complex is flowing weapons in, flowing supplies in, flowing training assistance in, floating in intelligence assistance. We are helping the Ukrainians be able to fight the Russians toe to toe. But without American support, the Russians are qualitatively and quantitatively superior than the Ukrainians without American and European assistance. Like, and this is like, so if the US just completely cuts Ukraine off, very quickly the Ukrainians are going to find themselves in an untenable situation where they can't continue to fight because they don't have the material. They don't have the ability to produce the weapons, the artillery shells, the aircraft maintenance, like, tanks. They just don't have the military production to do it. Russia does. They don't.
That's when they really became cool. I don't know what.
If you were head of another country that sits at Russia's border, what would you be thinking watching that? I would be thinking Europe needs to leave NATO and form their own bloc. If I were the Europeans, I would say America is not on our side. Maybe we can be friendly with the US, but we shouldn't be subordinate to the United States. That's what I would be thinking. I would be thinking we should leave NATO.
Why they still use that flag on their navy. Me personally, I would strive to change it.
Okay,
but
back to the video.
I didn't make JoJo or Death Stranding or Berserk, so don't take my word for it. However, no amount of vibes and aesthetic pink trees can cheer you up if your economy is ass. All three of these countries are gorgeous, but then you look at their economies and understand why they're so angry. Lebanon having a black market currency rate, Turkey having their official currency rate, which is somehow worse, and Armenia having the these real estate prices. I'd be mad too. It's a reasonable crash out, and China has been growing a lot economically, and generally people have been enjoying a higher quality of life. It is also probably gonna become the biggest economy on the planet, but they have 1.4 billion people, which means their GDP per capita is less than $13,000, which means it's lower than Mexico, Kazakhstan, Chile, and Bulgaria, because people living in the big cities make 5 to 10 times as much money as people living in the rural areas. Of course, most places have this income gap, but usually not as much as China, such as Japan, which does also have an income gap between big cities and rural areas, but nowhere near as much. And people in Japan generally enjoy a much higher quality of life with nearly triple the GDP per capita. But the thing is, Japan's economy has been stagnant since 1991. So stagnant, in fact, that it's referred to as Japan's lost decades. For example, in 1993, Japan's economy was 4.5 trillion, and this year it's 4.39 trillion. So like all these people are being overworked and the GDP is still not growing. It's a pretty bad situation, to be honest, and their currency has fell a lot in the last 10 years as well. But compared to like an average person in China, you would assume that the quality of life is still better. So because this one is about just a normal person living and not the nationwide GDP or some bullshit, this one goes to Japan. But otherwise, obviously, would go to China. They make everything, bro. Now, you guys know Japan as this cute country with a very cute flag that looks gorgeous.
China, the thing about the GDP stuff is it's kind of bullshit because it's based off of dollars. So we're talking about a exchange rate, and you should really be using purchasing power parity. And even then, China underreports the value of services. So I would say the Chinese economy is at least 25. I mean, the IMF says the Chinese economy is 25% bigger than the US. I would say it's probably twice as big as the US at this point. If you've fairly priced services in Japan and China compared to the United States, I think it would be double the economy. So right now we have an exchange, or it's like compare America's economy to China's in US dollars. It's like, yeah, the exchange rate gives the US a huge advantage because we're using their money. But if you actually look at it from, like I said, purchasing power parity, which is like how much does it cost to buy the same goods in China versus the same goods and services in America, they're doing great.
Has these cute vending machines, but there is a reason Japan is the only country in the world to have a nuke dropped on them. And it's because in World War II, the shit they were doing was so heinous that a literal German Nazi heard about what they were doing to Chinese people
and tried
to stop the Japanese. And the Chinese were so thankful to this Nazi that saved them from at least some of the Japanese atrocities that they built a statue for him. He was just like, okay guys, we are evil. We have skulls on our uniforms, but come on, we're not that evil. And the Chinese and Koreans have a very bad opinion of Japan, and it isn't because of the typical Asian racism, like this argument between two Asians, an Indonesian and an Estonian.
The Republic of Indonesia is made up of tens of thousands of islands, hundreds of cultures and languages. The Estonia is made up of meat and onion slop-eating Hungarians who polished the cocks of German horses for 1,000 years before being elevated to sapiens by the USSR.
It's because of the horrible things they've done to their neighbors, and the craziest thing is, Japan doesn't even acknowledge it.
Destiny tried to cancel me for that meme. I'm not even kidding. Destiny tried to cancel me for that meme. Destiny tried to cancel me for that meme. Somebody find it. Somebody find it. The Sex Pestity tried to cancel me for that meme. Someone find it. They literally, like, if you search in a subreddit, you can find it, I'm sure.
To this day, they deny it, which is fucking insane. Every other Axis member was like, oh, we did it and we're so sorry. But Japan doesn't give a fuck. A World War...
The United States is ending support for Ukraine's power grid restoration? The power grid? Bro, they have nuclear plants there. You can't let the nuclear power plants melt down. What? We are beyond cooked, dude. This planet is cooked.
II General Secretary literally wrote a book named Fabrication of the Nanjing where not only does he deny it happened, but blames the war on the Chinese. Or when the governor of Tokyo was being interviewed by Playboy in 1994 and said, people say that the Japanese made a Holocaust, but that is not true. It is a story made up by the Chinese. It has tarnished the image of Japan, but it is a lie. Imagine if the governor of Berlin said this, bro. It would be fucking insane. But all of this does not matter if you're living in a society that isn't free. China does not get a lot of party switches. It's always just the CCP, and the main changes that are their policy changes. So they've been in power for 75 years straight. Isn't that crazy, guys? While on the other hand, Japan's ruling party, the Liberal Democratic Party, has only been ruling for 69 years. Take that, China. They've been ruling Japan since 1955, except for one...
It's fine. It's fine because they're allied with the United States.
Corruption scandal where they were out for a year, and between 2019 to 2012 where they lost and then immediately got re-elected. Also in both countries, if you find yourself in a courtroom, you're cooked. Both China and Japan have a 99% prison conviction rate. Saul Goodman is not going to be able to save you. If you end up in a Japanese or a Chinese court, you are cooked. However, where Japan really beats China is the fact that Japanese people can go on YouTube and watch this video, while Chinese people need a VPN to watch this. The Great Firewall of China is a huge minus for me, honestly, and while they do have their own domestic stuff and they don't need YouTube for jack shit, as a Chinese person, you wouldn't need that. It would still be nice if the internet wasn't censored and you could go on websites like YouTube, Google, and etc. Keep Elon's Twitter banned though, please, Xi. I also don't like the re-education camps in Xinjiang, and generally Japan has much better laws on free speech, and they really have the hand up on this one. And this is a very big factor as well, you know, because it could be a vital to a lot of people on whether or not they fuck with the country. People leave their countries and their hometowns because their government is repressive or they don't fuck with the suppressive laws, so big up to Japan. But while the Japanese government wins this section, China executes their billionaires, which, judging by my personal experience with billionaires and now also looking at America, you know, I'm not gonna say anything about it, but there is a reason why Jack Ma is not in the same position as Elon Musk. Anyways, Japan still wins over China. But is this restrictive government worth it? Because Japan's economy has been stagnant since 1991 and China's has been growing, so they must be doing something right, such as China going from a rural poor country to basically a cyberpunk that also makes amazing technology and has also emerged as a dominant superpower instead of Japan. If Japan disappeared tomorrow, I would cry. And if China disappeared, every single thing would shoot up in price and everyone would be like, fuck, fuck. Because this one country, China, manufactures 31.6% of the entire world's goods, along with doing a bunch of research that advances humanity, such as 6G and bazillion renewable energy research they've done, along with being the only reason behind solar power becoming better and cheaper. Without China, the entire world would be cooked. China is #1 in trade, in steel production, in shipbuilding, in high-speed rail, #1 car exporter in the world, in #1 in drones, in rare earth metals, in nuclear power, in batteries, and in solar. It's not really a competition. China gets this one. Now, what you watched was my video, right? I would say I hope you enjoyed it, but fuck that. I know you enjoyed it. So please like and subscribe for more videos like this. I'm trying to reach my own Project 2025 here. And yeah, like and subscribe and goodbye.
Humor, man. Liking China and Japan is like, why can't we like both? Why do I have to pick? Why can't I like both? Boom! Hit that subscribe button, turn on that, ring that bell. Why can't I like both? My overall, for me, the tiebreaker goes to China because China is the only place in the world where there's some amount of hope. I have a lot of disagreements with things that Chinese Communist Party has done over the years, but they actually at least have a plan for the future that isn't just shit. Whereas Japan is very clearly just rotting and stagnant. I found it. Mike from PA makes racist comments about Estonians and Balts, says they were raised to sentience by the Soviet Union. I fucking told you. Christianity united all those who were at the bottom. And it was so insidious, it spread so widely, spreading the idea of the equality of men and being judged by your actions and your beliefs. It was radically egalitarian. This is like this. There's actually a very strong argument that people make that socialism is actually kind of like the reason why it happened in Europe is because egalitarian like theology, the idea of like spiritual equality, grew from like a Christian worldview. Like socialism is actually like a distillation of some Christian theology, like not like the Christianity we have today, but just like that idea of like equality. Mike, you're gonna trigger Reddit. I'm not saying that I agree with this. I'm just saying this is a thing that is asserted that I don't think is totally invalid. It didn't conquer. Ghost of Toller, thank you for the tier 1. Unless you're like, unless you're one of the fucking horse meat eating slop fuckers of Estonia or something. But other than Estonia, Christianity, for the most part, did not conquer until imperialism. I'm talking about in Europe. It was oh, you're pathetic and your life sucks? Well, God loves you. Hassan Orbiter's loving Stalin and being anti-Estonian and anti-bait racist, thinking that Stalin is the opposite of Hitler, who civilized the Baltic savages, that they keep your loving 50%. Okay, I wasn't even reading at that point. It is just objectively true that the Soviet Union raised you guys to sentience. It is true. I mean, like, weren't you still doing human sacrifices at that point? By the way, this was just me joking. Okay, this was called a joke. I was going after a whiny chatter, so I made a joke. We all know who civilized the Baltics, okay? They're called the Teutonic Knights, okay? All right, we know who civilized them, all right? Okay? That's who civilized them. The Baltics were ruled by a... honestly, one of the most insane things that has ever existed, which is the Teutonic Order, which is a monastic military order. So their government was literally monks. They were ruled by monk knights. Oh fuck, that's funny. See, the Christianization of Lithuania. There you see it. To avoid further clashes with the Teutonic Order in 1349, Lithuanian co-ruler Kęstutis started the negotiations with Pope Clement VI for the conversion and had been promised royal crowns for himself and his sons. Very weird shit. The conquest of Prussia was accomplished with much bloodshed over more than 50 years. Fighting between the knights and Prussians was ferocious. Chronicles of the order state the Prussians would roast captured brethren alive in their armor like chestnuts before the shrine of a local god. Like, damn shit, man. And there you see. You can see that? The Teutonic Order. Isn't this fucking nuts? So these motherfuckers were forced to convert to Christianity. This is the Northern Crusades. You probably heard of the Crusades, but this is the ones that won. Anyway, that's what I was referring to. Also, yeah, the Livonians, yeah. But they are just Teutonic Knights as well, but yeah. They had to be forced to be Christian because they were like, no. Our pagan gods are stronger than Christ. Christ is weak. All right, chat. Well, fuck, it's Friday. You know what happens on Friday, chat? Do you know what happens on Friday? We watch a movie at 9 p.m. Eastern on my Discord. And this week we are watching Selma.
He's got supporters. Detroit, New York, Los Angeles, inciting large-scale arrests and sympathy marches.
I'm very aware of that, Mr. Hoover. What I do know is he's nonviolent. What I need to know right now, what's Martin Luther King about to do next?
Mr. President, Dr. King is here.
If you want to join my
in the South,
Discord,
there
here's
have
the
been
link.
thousands of racially motivated murders.
We need your help, Dr. King. This thing is just gonna have to wait. It cannot wait. You got one big issue, I got 101.
Summer it is.
Here is the next great battle.
Selma's the place, and they ready.
Dr. King.
I tell you, that white boy can hit.
We will not tolerate agitators attempting to orchestrate a disturbance in this state.
It is unacceptable that they use their power to keep us voiceless. Those that have gone before us say no more.
People actually say they're gonna kill our children. They're trying to get inside of your head.
What happens when a man stands up, says enough is enough?
We built the path as we came, rock by rock.
His sail is probably bugged.
It probably is.
We must march. We must stand up.
You march those people into rural Alabama, it's gotta be open season.
May I have a word?
There's no word to be had.
The people. The people. The people. The people.
There's 70 million people watching. These pictures are going around the world.
We must make a massive demonstration. White, black, and otherwise. Come to Selma.
I heard about the attack of innocent people. I couldn't just stand by.
Looks like an army out there.
This revolution goes on and on. This revolution goes on and on.
Mine eyes have seen the glory, 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 hallelujah.
What happens when a man stands up, says enough is enough?
All right, chat. Here's a link to it, to the event if you're in the Discord. If not, come hang out. This is my Discord. We have, is it not work anymore? Does the link not work? Okay, it works. Never mind. We're at 9,500 leftists in there. And so we're going to be doing that today. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals for hanging out with me today. My voice is shot. I'm done. I'm done for the day, which means it's time to play it out, folks. It's time to play it out. Thank you so much for all the amazing support. And we're all gonna fucking die, dude. Donald Trump is fucking batshit. All right, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no rights. So come, brothers and sisters, for the struggle carries on. Listening to Mike from PA unites the world in song. So comrades, come and rally, for this is the time and place. Join the Central Committee and unite the human race. Break down the billionaire system. Bring down the bourgeoisie. To see the end of capitalism, we must set Luigi free. Demand that health care be provided, as well as housing and food security. We'll build high-speed rails and revolutions with heads of billionaires and solidarity. So come, brothers and sisters, through this struggle we'll carry on. A gift up to Central Committee is one step closer to righting the wrongs. So comrades, come and rally, and remember that Hutch owes Mike $1,500 because Mike was fucking right.